What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 3, Episode 12, and it's called Chapter 47, Bizzarodale.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines. So be sure to stick around for that.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and review if you're listening to us on iTunes. Let us get into the episode, y'all.
Let's get into it. I have so many emotions right now. I love this episode so much.
Yeah, it was really well done.
I'm very shocked that an episode that really wasn't at all about the core four was probably my favorite episode of the season. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, I think you can confidently say that because I pretty much agree with you. It was one of the most normal episodes, and it's funny because that's how the episode starts. It starts off with, Jughead saying, despite all the craziness that's been happening, like, life still goes on in Riverdale for other people, and like it set the tone perfectly for the episode. I love that it focused on the four characters and still kind of brought everybody in except for, I guess, Bughead. But it was just a very entertaining episode, and it just goes to show that there's so much story to tell from these secondary characters.
There's so much story to tell. But did you at all feel like where we sort of take off with these characters, we sort of missed things along the way?
How do you mean?
Like, especially with the whole Josie and Sweet Pea moment, I kind of was like, wait, I could have used like another episode before this.
Agreed.
To like fill in the gaps a little bit. Like, it's almost like we got so much that I was like, it could have been dispersed throughout the season, especially the whole things with Kevin and Moose.
Yeah.
Like, so much happened this episode, but I was like, I would have been down to see this a little bit before too,
For sure. I mean, I guess I can't really do that because it does focus on the core four. But yeah, I would have loved to see, like Josie getting like a text here and there from Sweet Pea, or her showing up at his place and hooking up, or
like one little moment where I'm like, okay, they're still seeing each other. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I almost totally forgot that they were doing stuff in the like in the summertime. So So for her to show up like that, I was like, oh, true. Yeah, you guys are together. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there.
We'll get into it. Yeah, but I loved it.
Yeah, it was such a good episode. Okay, let's start off from the top. So like I said, it starts off at Pops, and it's cool. Like I said, it shows the core four in the beginning, but then it literally pans over and it shows, Josie and Kevin talking to their parents. Yeah. And essentially they say, okay, we're going to get married. And they just want a small, tiny little wedding because they're just like, whatever. They in love. And Josie and Kevin are like, no, you guys should do something sick. Like, let's do something at the Bon Nuit, at least like an after party or something. Yeah. And so then they finally agree to that. And so that's the
I was just scene. So scared for freaking Tierra the entire time. I'm like, oh no, don't leave the house, don't go anywhere. I'm like, just go home after the wedding. Like, don't do anything.
Like, don't do anything.
Like, I was just so scared for them.
Yeah, I was so fearful for Tierra this episode. Like, you don't even understand. Like, Tom Keller, like, my God, this man, I can't. Before
we get further, today me and JLAG were talking, and we were thinking about this theory that Josie is gonna leave town because potentially Tierra could get murdered. And then, like, we're so freaking dark, but yeah, like, she could get murdered. And then Josie would have to leave, maybe like move in with her dad or like whatever. And then that would potentially lead to like the whole spin-off Katie Keene storyline. Right. So that's sort of what we were thinking. So the whole episode, I'm like literally like, like my throat is clenched. I'm like, no, I'm like, Tierra, like, just go home and be safe.
And they were just so happy this episode. Like, even when they're talking about the Gargoyle King and they're with the other parents, they're so fucking happy while they're talking so about, Ascension Night. And I was like, something's going to happen. One of them's definitely going to die. I'm like, we're fucked.
Yeah. I know.
It didn't happen. So,
and they're just so positive. Like, whereas like Hermione and like Hiram, they're like, oh, like, what's going to happen? They're more like, life is positive. We love each other. Like, everything is so positive with them. I freaking love it.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's move on, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But we get a moment, and all the Shoni fans can probably like clap 100 times more because this episode was a lot of Shoni.
A lot of Shoni, and we're gonna get a lot of more stuff later on.
So they're in bed and they're just chilling, and I kind of love this, and I'm really, really glad that they focused on this aspect of it because honestly, I was worried that they would never talk about their dynamic together, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But it starts off with her basically complaining about, or not complaining, but saying like, oh yeah, I did really well in the SATs and I want to get into college, and Tony's just like out here being like, I miss my gang dough, like that's all I really care about. I miss my serpents. And Cheryl's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go to college, bye. Like she just like literally decides that she's just gonna like you know figure out her next step.
For everyone that says like, oh, high school drama is just boring, like they have to create murderers and serial killers because like it's so boring. No, it's not. Like this is the shit that they would be worrying about. The fact that like you know one partner is gonna go to college and the other partner's like, no, like I never had college in my like sight, so like why would I think of that?
Right.
Like this is a real conversation that they're having.
And it was filled with drama. I don't know who the hell's saying that that's not fucking not boring. Like I would totally watch that show, and clearly I hope that the like writers are listening to us and listening to the reviewers and all the other fans saying the exact same thing, that all they want is just some regular ass high school drama with maybe one murder maximum per season. Like per season, we don't need
don't do it per
we
like
don't need
episode.
a murder every episode. So then it cuts to
so what happens in that situation? They get their SAT scores and then what?
Yeah, she basically says like, I'm lit, I have so much, like I got a really good
so now I can apply.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So then it cuts to Veronica and Reggie, and they're with Hermione at her office, and she says, you got to pay this shit back because you stole this money, and now you got to pay it back. And Veronica has her, obviously, like a line of the episode is, and suddenly I'm in an episode of Ozark because they find out how much money they have to pay back. And Hermione's like, well, you're a part of the big leagues now, so you got to do it. And this is the part that I was like, Hermione, you're such a waste, mom. Like, I can't believe you're forcing your daughter to, like, she's almost just as bad as Hiram in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, Hiram would have told it, like, I don't even think that Hiram would have gone as far as Hermione did to do all this, you know, like he probably would have said like, listen, I know you effed up, but maybe I'll just take care of the situation.
No, but here's the thing. First of all, Hiram has done so many fucked up things. I can't even like compare it, but I honestly think like what Hermione's going to say after all of this is done, she's going to be like, I was training you to like be the boss ass bitch that I was trained to be.
Yeah,
so
I guess.
I feel like she's like putting her through the ringer. I mean, I feel like Veronica's been through so much already in this season, in terms of like business and mafias and gang crimes. Like I think she's good.
She's good. Exactly. Like you don't need to get her to like go to see this next person, make money, steal money, whatever. So anyway, so that's their dilemma this whole episode. Then it cuts to Cheryl, and she's back at this new college. I think it's called Highsmith or something like that.
Yeah,
and she's talking to the headmistress, and she's like, I'm here, I have almost perfect SAT scores, and I'm a legacy, so I should be here. Right. And the headmistress tells her right off the top, like, listen, that's great and all, but we decided that we're going to diversify this year, so you're probably not going to get in. And already Cheryl's like, what the F? Like, why can't I get in? So she's pissed off, and she's going to just find out how that all comes down. And then it cuts to Moose and Kevin, and once again, like over-sexualized making out session.
So effing aggressive.
Like it's just so aggressive. Every single time we've seen them, like I'm obviously gay, so I'm always I'm always down to see like two guys making out, but every time we see these two together, they're like aggressively making out.
I know, and I was like, oh, but
know if I want to see that all the time.
I know, and I think it just comes from like their like hunger for each other that they can't like fuck, I guess.
Yes.
But you're right. Like I was just like, oh, can they just make out like normally without like killing each other's like brains and heads? Like they're like banging into walls and shit.
I know. Like wear a helmet at the very least.
Seriously.
So yeah, Kevin basically says like, can you like at least come like, you know, let's hang out. Let's have a proper night together. And he also puts a little bit more pressure on Moose to come out to his dad. He's like, just come out to your dad. No big deal. Like, whatever, right?
Okay, like, so at this point in the episode, I was like, this needs to happen tonight. Like, I will not go any further into this effing season without their storyline advancing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it has to advance at this point. They had the same conversation in the season opener by Cheryl's pool. Legit the same convo.
Yeah.
So I was like, it has to happen tonight. And I was satisfied. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Josie, and she goes to visit Sweet Pea.
Oh my God.
Hey, boy, hey.
She's like, hey. He's like, hey, you're going to like come for a booty call again? And I was like, bish, what? Like, when did that happen? Yeah. Like, when did they actually hook up?
Yeah. And like we were saying, he does mention that, you know, you've come over for booty calls ever since we broke up in the summer.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, this ain't what it's about. Yeah. Because I totally forgot that they were dating.
Yeah. I was like, I was down to see those. Like, why didn't we see anything? Like,
poor Sweet Pea's like not getting any action. Like, poor guy.
All he's doing is like accidentally killing Tall Boy. Like,
and like hanging out with Fangs. He's had more screen time with Fangs than he has with a girl.
With Josie.
Like, come on. So anyway, she essentially says that her parents are getting married, or her mom's getting married, and she wants to know if she wants a date. Yeah, the date. And poor guy was like, I can't do this anymore. You don't want to do this like officially. And I got to get off this merry-go-round with you. That's like actually what he says.
The best part though was, he was like, I can't do this. Like, you're in and out of my life. And like, I just can't. Like, I can't be with you anymore. So like, sorry, boo. And her face was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, she was it's like she didn't really care. She's like, all right, I guess I'll go find someone else.
Yeah.
But this was also a moment where I kind of like wished she asked the Pussycats to be like her date. Like, that would have been so cute. She would have been like, you know what? Screw the guys. I'll just take my 2 girlfriends.
Envy's
like,
just out here wanted to. Envy's out here just wanted to see the Pussycats like one more time.
Well,
like,
especially if the episode is about really the other core 4.
The other side.
Like, why not? Like, introduce her 2 girls. Like, I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. It's just, I feel so bad for the Pussycats, honestly. Like, I really, really like Val and like Melody, if you guys are listening, like, we're sorry. Like,
we sorry. Love you guys. I mean, all I can hope for is that you guys are gonna be in Katie Keene. So yeah. Like, bless up fam.
Let's pray. So then it cuts to Cheryl, and she visits Penelope at her brothel.
Yeah.
And she basically says, like, the reason why I didn't get into Highsmith is because of you. I know it for sure. And Penelope doesn't even pretend. She's like, yep, that's true. It's because you're gay and I don't support you. Like, she didn't even lie at all. And I totally forgot that there was no like real resolution to how Penelope felt about her gayness.
Yeah.
And I was kind of cheesed that she's still holding on to this like frustration with Cheryl. You know what?
It's funny because for someone who is very like
feminism and
kind of like feminism, like the women kill the men, the women are the more dominant, like be a prostitute. Like, she's so like, I feel like forward in that sense, but then she's kind of like, oh, my daughter's gay and I hate her right now. Like, it's just kind of like, I just don't see it anymore. I feel like she should be on Cheryl's side.
I agree, and it doesn't make any sense. And like, what's gonna change her mind? The fact that like she's like you said, she's literally running a brothel on the side of it all, and she still thinks that being gay is a sin. Like,
yeah, it's just it doesn't match up anymore. Maybe in the first season when she was still like at home and just like a housewife, I get fine. But like now it's like, no, girl, like you literally have a brothel in a hotel room.
Like relax.
Don't be judging anybody.
Don't be throwing stones, Beach. Yeah. So then we get a really cute moment with Tierra. I'm going to call them Tierra because they're adorable. This is Tom and Sierra. And it was really funny because it starts off with her like throwing him on the bed. Yeah. And I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like, is she going to peg him? Like, hashtag Broad City.
Oh my God. I saw that. I was dead.
I was like, what the hell is this?
He was so cute. Like, they're just so cute together. Like, he was so giddy. He's like, yeah.
Like, she's like, he's out here looking like a fucking snack for real.
And she called him that.
She's like, I'm gonna get a snack before I have another snack. I was like,
I love you guys. I want you guys to have your spin-off. Like, please.
Like, we are all Sierra right now. Like, I'm so down. Like, you don't even understand. I'm watching the show with my boyfriend. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues. So Anyway, she goes to the table to get a snack, and she finds a letter from the Gargoyle King.
Oh,
and
so hot, though.
they're freaking out, and it says like, congrats on your upcoming nuptials. You need to complete this ascension night once and for all. Tell no one or your children will pay the price. One of the things that we forgot to mention, which is I guess one of the biggest things that do happen while they're at Pops, they bump into Moose and Moose's dad.
Oh my god.
And that was the big giveaway for me, at least.
Oh my god. And it was so planted and so fake.
Yeah.
So what happens is like, Tom and Tierra are like so lovey-dovey, whatever. And then Moose's dad and Moose walk by. And then Sierra's like, oh, like, hey guys, like, come to our wedding reception party, like, after, like, we're getting married, whatever. And then Moose's dad is like, like, we'll see.
It's like, I'll think about it.
Yeah, it gives them the biggest side eye. I'm like, oh, obviously he's jealous. Like, he wants Sierra.
But the thing that killed... Yeah, the thing that killed me was like, now that we've watched the entire episode, he's like shading Tom because you think that he's had a crush on Sierra the whole time, and even Sierra's like, oh yeah, he was jealous of Tom this whole time because he wanted to be with me. The gag is that he's jealous of
like he wants Tom.
Sierra, yeah.
But here's the thing, I wish, and you're right, like I wish they had done that scene in another episode, so that it didn't feel so like, new character, he's being like shady, he's probably gonna kill someone in the end. Like
exactly, yeah.
It was definitely
like a rushed plan thing. I get it. I guess like you want to encapsulate it in all one episode, but it was kind of like obvious.
And like the idea to have their wedding should have been implanted from the beginning when like they moved in. Yeah, they should have been like, we're planning the wedding. It's gonna happen on this day.
I think it does happen, but like I think they do talk about it, but it's very, very brief.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then it cuts to Cheryl and Kevin, and they're in the lounge at school, and she's like, "What's up, boy?"
Yeah. Kevin's like stuffing his face. He's like eating something.
He's just like sad or whatever, and he basically says like, oh yeah, me and this guy are having problems. And Cheryl's like, you mean like you and Moose? Because like basically you guys have been like secretly making out with each other everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, true. And the one thing that I want to know, and this is the second time they've done this. They mentioned the Talented Mr. Ripley movie once again. Do you remember way back in season 1, the first thing that Kevin says like that he wanted to watch as a movie was Talented Mr. Ripley. And I'm like, you guys are obsessed with this movie.
I know, but I don't know if it's like leading to anything. I don't know.
I don't think it is, but like I was just like weirded out that they made the second reference about it. Anyway, so she's like, so don't worry about it. You should go on Bumble. And I was like, wait,
pause.
Pause.
Hold on. Already, I was so gagged from last week when Reggie was like on Bumble. I was like, this is the dumbest #spawn I've ever seen in my entire life.
So dumb.
And then when she's sitting with Kevin, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna like give him such good advice. She's gonna see something like so epic. I'm like waiting for it. She's like, Kevin, go on Bumble. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm hearing this right now. Like, this is insane.
And secondly, isn't Bumble only for like girls and guys? Like,
so I guess not.
Even go on Bumble.
But I guess it's not.
But how does that even work? Isn't it all about the girl making the first move? Like, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
How do you do that for two guys?
Like maybe you choose who you want.
Oh, it's just like a matchup, I guess, right? Anyway, I just don't understand why they threw Bumble back in there. And I was
they're obviously being sponsored by it. So
I'm like, yeah.
I was just waiting for her to like give some really good advice. And then she just said #spawn like Bumble. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And anyway, so he says like, I don't want any of that. I just want him to come out. And he's just like, it's just kind of shitty because it seems that like Moose's dad is like not about that life. And she has like this stupid line where she's like, I'm so angry that there's people in this town, like whatever. I'll say it later because it's my best line because it's so extra.
Yeah. But it's true. She was right.
It is true. It's stupid that there is like such close-mindedness around it still, but like that is the mission of this episode. So she does end up going like literally right after she like turns around.
Like, guys, she got way too lit. Like, she went too far.
Like 120% too lit. And so she goes on the speakerphone and she's like, as class president, I'm going to create an LGBTQI alliance club. And then she starts going
She's
on
like,
about it.
Attention. There's a guy who's gay but doesn't tell anyone. And he's like in the ROTC. And his name is like after an animal. But I'm not going to tell you like who it is. I'm like, girl, that's so tight. Like
you're already outing him. Like you are outing him. And that's the thing. Like I don't think anybody... Bad. Like, why would you go through so much detail? Like, there's only like 10 people at the ROTC.
Seriously.
So for you to even say ROTC, like, obviously it's the two that are always in the room together alone. Like, bro, you're putting a target on his back.
It was just, and then seeing like, because Tony's like walking in the hall at the same time and she hears that announcement and her face was like cheese, like Parmesan cheese. Like,
she was pissed.
Oh, she's going to get so pissed.
Yeah. And at the same time, Kevin's like, Moose gets pissed off at Kevin and he's like, yo, like, did you put her up to that shit? Like, what the hell? Yeah. And Kevin's like, obviously I would never out you. Yeah. But he does give him an ultimatum and say, like, if you don't come out to your dad, we got to break up. Like, I was like, that was kind of tight. I was like, since when do you have to force people to come out to, like,
yeah, but I thought he gave the ultimatum, like, in season 2.
Like, from time.
I feel like we've been through this already.
That's true. Anyway, so yeah. So Tony ends up finding Cheryl in the bathroom. Like, Cheryl's like, yes, I did it. I'm so good. And
she
Tony,
was like, so proud of herself.
Yeah. And, like, Tony launches in at her and she's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I do love this moment too, because I love the fact that they like got her to get called out by this, and Tony really had a really good case, and I loved the way that it was all written.
It all
and
made
told.
sense. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. She says, like, Cheryl, you're so privileged. All you're worrying about is like going to your SATs. She's like, I can't even get into that school to begin with. And like, you're trying to out people. Like, you don't even understand. She was like, I was an outcast for such a long period of my life, and that's why the serpents were so important to me. But
like, you took them away from me too. I lost them. Yeah, I was just like, yo, I'm like, this girl has had issues with this relationship.
No, but like, that's the thing. Like, and it was funny because Cheryl even says it. She's like, oh, are we having our first fight? Like, this is so exciting. Yeah. But then at the same time, we were talking about this too. It's like Tony and Cheryl are so good together. Like, they were like in love. They went on like a trip together. They're so happy, whatever. I'm like, there was no conflict. And I'm like, I'm glad that this is their conflict, because it's so real. Like, she is privileged. She like literally left the serpents like not even giving a fuck. Like, she was like, whatever. Tony's like, this is my entire life, bro. Like, what the hell? You're just gonna like have me sleep at your place, and like, what's gonna happen? You're gonna go off to college and like what's gonna happen to me?
Exactly. And even when Cheryl was like, oh my god, we're having our first fight, Tony's like, yo, I'm being serious. Like, shut up.
Like, stop trying to like
really
just
good.
Like cause chaos everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, take responsibility for your actions, which I thought was like really good.
Yeah. And she's like, you know what, Tony, I'm gonna fix it all right now. And she's like,
but I'm gonna need your camera. I'm like, oh god.
But she gets so even more lit, and she like basically fixes everything.
She does.
I'm like, really holy shit, Cheryl, like, you're amazing.
She really did fix everything. So then it cuts to Archie seeing Josie in the music room, and she's like freaking out. She's tearing up. She's crying. And she's like, Juilliard is coming and I have an audition, but I was going to ask Sweet Pea to drive me, but now I wasn't able to because he broke up with me. And Archie's like, obviously you literally could have asked anybody else and they would have taken you. Like, why did you have to ask your fuckboy?
Why don't you call up Val and Mel? Because I'm pretty sure they would drive you too. But he was so cute.
He's was like, really cute.
I had my jalopy. Like, oh yeah, dude, I don't know what happened to me. Like, Archie and Josie got me so hard. This, like, they were so cute.
Yeah, they were really cute together. I was totally shipping them this episode.
I don't know why it was him with her. Like, his facial reactions.
Yeah.
He just felt so calm beside her. I don't know, like,
yeah,
I don't know what it was.
Just seeing them both on screen, and I think just after all of his like boyish like idiocy, and now it's kind of stripped away from him, and now he's like a little bit more mature, and he wants to like kind of get back to his real life, and you know, he's obviously going back into focus on music, and just seeing them both on screen together felt right. Like, it's so weird to say it that way, but like it just felt natural for where he needs to be right now. Like, a part of me was like, no, he needs to be single, but then I was like, no, I'm totally down for them to have like this really nice companionship.
It is. And you know what, it's not even about Archie finding his next girlfriend. It is Archie connecting to another human being, to someone else who is his age, who is going through things that are going, obviously she talks about it after too, but like it was just this connection.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get into it after. But yeah, I was like blown away. I'm so shocked at how like I just feel about it, because I thought I was gonna hate it.
No, I was so into it. And so then it cuts to Veggie, this new couple, and like Veronica's like, yo, couple. This next couple, and like already I'm like over Veggie because I'm so into Josie.
You're so right. It's so funny. Every time they cut back, I was like, ugh, okay, like whatever, like
move on. Yeah. I thought it was gonna be such a sexy episode for them, but I was like, cool, whatever, let's move on. But anyway, so Veronica's like, yo, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, we can't make this money.
Yeah.
And Reggie's like, I got a great idea. My dad keeps money in the safe in his dealership. I'm gonna steal from him. I'm like, what? Is that your fucking plan? Seriously? For real? Seriously. And even though Veronica said like yes to it, she was kind of like not about it. And I was just thinking, yeah, you guys should probably not do this. This doesn't make any sense.
I think in that moment you can see her like wheels turning. She's like, I don't think this is the right thing. But at that point, this girl is so desperate, and they're in a tight bind that like she doesn't have any other option, so she has to go with what he's saying.
That being said, and I'll probably mention a little bit later in the episode, but like I really wasn't feeling their storyline at all. I was like, get away, I don't care.
Me too. No, you're right. Away. I'm glad you said that, because I felt the same.
Like, why are they on this side stupid mission to get money and like steal from his dad? Like, it's so weird. So anyway, they decide to like rob his dealership and wear a gargoyle mask. And then she's like, great idea. And then they start making out. And like I said, I was not even feeling the kiss. I was like, okay, let's move on. Next scene.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to the parents, and they're all together except for Hiram, because I guess he's like still sick or injured. He's got the flu. So yeah, he's not there, but everybody else is there, including freaking Marty Mantle, who's just like in the corner drinking. I was like, go. He doesn't even have a speaking line.
Yeah, he just like nods.
He's so like, extra. Yeah, and didn't Reggie have a mom? I guess she wasn't a part of Ascension Night, though.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, because like he met the wife after. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, whatever. So they're like, we have to all participate, including Hiram, and we got to finish this game or whatever. And like, no one knows. Like, FP's like, yo, I've been on this case and for 2 days and I still don't know who it is. Like, give this poor guy a break. Yeah. So anyway, they have to start the game again. And like I said, Tierra was on fire this entire time. They're like, we're just trying to get married over here.
Like, power effing couple.
Like, they couldn't even pretend to be scared.
They're like, love. That's all they cared about, guys. Like, love. So cute. Like, it's love too wins. Much.
Yeah.
Again, I was like, oh my God, Tierra. I'm like, protect yourself, girl. You got to make it to the wedding.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Josie, and I didn't know what was going to happen this episode, but yeah, I guess it happened this episode. She's at her audition.
Yeah.
And then like, as you see the camera like slowly pan forward, I'm like, oh, here she goes. And then she didn't get to sing.
She didn't even sing.
We didn't get to hear it.
I was so upset. I was ready. You know, since the news came out that she might be leaving, I've been like, all like, I'm backing her up. I want to hear her sing. And like, even Archie was like, he's like, I drove all the way here, girl. You got to sing.
Yeah. It's kind of tight that we didn't get to see it. But at the same time, like, all right, whatever. You guys are not doing
You can tell they definitely cut it out for timing, because I bet you she really did sing. But they probably had to cut that part out.
I mean, let's wait until we get the digital release of it. It's probably going to be on YouTube tomorrow, like her actual audition tape. Like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, from the Riverdale channel. So then it cuts to Veronica, and she is like in the getaway car, and she's like reading a fucking book. Like, bro, you're on a mission. Yeah. Like, you don't have time to read a book.
She's like, because at first, like, Reggie was like, girl, we'll be like Bonnie and Clyde, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, ew. She's like, no, I don't want to be Bonnie and Clyde. I'm like, you've literally been Bonnie and Clyde since
you've been Monica season. Posh, like, since this episode started.
Like,
so
since the beginning, where like you busted like Archie out, like, you've been Bonnie and Clyde, both of you guys. So, like, girl, like, get real. Like, know yourself.
So Reggie is running. So all you hear is gunshots, and then Reggie's running.
She's still reading. She's like, huh?
She's still reading. She's like, what's happening? Let me put this book down. It's a really good chapter. And then he gets in the car and he gets shot, but he gets shot just like in the arm, whatever.
He gets shot, and then she's like, what happened? Who shot
She's
you?
literally,
what's going on? He's like, bitch, go.
I was clapping so hard at the screen. I was like, girl, move. Like, do you not even know what a getaway car is? Like, the point of this is for you to dip.
To get away.
Like, she's like, oh my God, what happened to you? Oh my God, you is shot now. What is going to happen now?
That
like,
blood? Oh my God.
Like, license plate numbers. Like,
you need to drive.
Like, what the fuck? So anyway, she finally just like dips. She drives. And I was like, girl, I can't with you right now. Then it cuts to Cheryl and Tony. And she's like, Operation 50 Shades of Blackmail is underway. And so obviously Tony's role in this whole thing is to take pictures with her fancy pantsy camera. And so she starts taking pictures of clients leaving the brothel. And Penelope catches them. She's like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? And essentially Cheryl blackmails her mom.
Did they take pictures of? Oh wait, no, never mind.
Yeah, it was at the front of like the door, like people leaving.
Yeah.
And so they basically say like, if you want us to not release these pictures and the names of your clients, then you better let me go to school, essentially. And she's like, don't test me, mumsy. We know how to dominate too. And she like holds like a leather belt.
I was like,
and I was like,
weird.
No.
I was like,
no
I don't
writers,
understand what's happening. No.
Like, let's stop.
Fast forward.
So then it cuts to Josie and Archie at Pops, and she like literally got her rejection letter like 2 seconds
like
later.
Literally like her email was like ding ding ding, you have been rejected. She's like,
it's
oh
like
my
they
God.
they like close an envelope and they just hand it to her, and she opened it up at Pops. Like, so she's like, sorry you didn't get in.
And then like she sort of like snowballs. She's like, oh my God, I got rejected. Oh my God,
she's like, I'm alone.
Won't go on a date with me. We're not friends. I'm so alone. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, relax, girl.
Poor Archie, he's like, I had a bad year too, girl.
He's like, I got eaten by a bear. Like we're the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, he says like, don't.
Was so cute.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, I'll come with you. And he's like, I've had a really shitty like time like coming back or whatever. And he's like, I can maybe help you feel less alone.
Guys, what is wrong with me? Like, how am I feeling these things for Archie? I hate him.
But like, I was totally feeling in this episode.
I'm telling you, like, I don't want her to leave anymore. Like, I don't want her to leave the show.
Like, don't go now. This is all so good right now.
It's so good.
Jeez. Anyway, so then it cuts to Veggie, and she's patching him up, and he's like, yo, I got shot. This was crazy.
He was so lit. He's like, yo, I finally got shot. Like, I could tell everyone. And she's like, actually, no, you can't, because then they will know you stole the money, dumbass.
This is illegal. Yeah.
Like, he's so stupid.
So extra. So the one thing that I hated was the fact that like, you're telling me that he stole that bag of money, and now at one point in time he like decided to open it. He like waited till he got to the Banui. Like, okay. Anyway, so he opens up this bag, and then he gets hit with like a bunch of dye. Yeah. So it's like booby trapped. So like the bag gets like dyed or whatever.
All the cash gets like the dye. Yeah.
Right. So then it cuts to Moose and Kevin, and Moose like once again aggressively kisses Kevin, and Kevin's like, what's going on? And Moose is like, yo, I just came out to my dad. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like feeling my homo self and being like, oh my God, this is so cute, I love this.
Okay, so question for you, do you feel like you wanted to see that scene with him and his dad?
Yeah, I think I did, but I think just based on what happens later on this episode, you're like, if I saw it, I probably would have like felt another type of way. Yeah. So yeah, they probably should have shown it, but like Moose is not even like one of the four characters, like the secondaries. He's like the next character. So I get that they weren't going to show it. And it definitely would have tipped people off like even more. But yeah, I think I would have liked to see that, because we haven't seen that struggle conversation yet. Because when it happened with Kevin, like Tom wasn't like, oh, you're gay. He was like, you're gay. Like, I know. Yeah. Like he wasn't gagged by it. So I would have liked to see it, but I guess we're kind of past that point when it comes to these kind of television shows. And
you're right. I think for what happens in the ending, it only made sense that like you didn't see his reaction, I guess.
Yeah. So then Kevin's like, oh my God, so you can like come to my like dad's like wedding or whatever.
Yeah.
And Moose is like forget about the wedding. Like I want to like have sex with you like somewhere.
Yeah. He's like right now. Like we have to go tonight.
Like let's go. So he's like, cool, let's spend the night together. And then it cuts to Cheryl at the headmistress's office, and Cheryl's like, oh, like looks like you like change your tune and you want me to be a part of this thing. And she's like, yeah, come through. And Cheryl has like a selfless moment, and she's like, actually, I want you to meet somebody else, Antoinette, blah 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 blah. I don't know her last name, but she basically gets. Oh yeah, right. Topaz. So then
she's a photo journalist. Like she's gonna be so lit.
She's gonna win like a Pulitzer Prize. So she switches with Tony, and Tony has like her hair like all cute and braided, and she's like, "Nice to meet you." And I thought it was a cute moment. What did you think? No,
it was so cute. Like I was just so shocked at how Cheryl was like literally like fixing everything in the world. I was like, oh my God, like, and she's like she really check.
She's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Like she went through every single one.
Yeah, she was killing it.
So then it cuts to Veronica and Reggie, and they're like, okay, I guess we're going to have to just give this like dirty ass money to somebody.
Yeah.
And they meet in the middle of nowhere, and it's Gladys that comes out.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh shit, another like bunch of kids like dealing with this crap.
Yeah.
And so she sees the money, and it's literally like blue. Like she cannot use it.
Yeah. I was like, you can't take that, obviously, right? Like, because she didn't really say anything. She's just like, huh. I was like,
she's like,
is that like a good huh? Or like, is that a bad huh? Like,
that's like a fuck this shit. Huh?
Like, I can't deposit this into a bank, huh?
Right. Right.
I was just confused.
Well, she does say later, she's like, I'll take your money and I'll literally have to launder it. Like literally launder. Like
put it into the laundromat.
I don't know what she meant by that, but I'm assuming that's what she meant. I was like, good luck, girl. Like that ink is not coming out.
No, I think she meant like launder money, but then I'm like, girl, the cash is blue. Like, what are you gonna do?
Like, what are you gonna like switch out blue like fucking bills for people? So anyway, Veronica's like, yo, they didn't know who she was, so she's like, oh, you must know my son Jughead.
She's like Gladys Jones, and they're like, okay, cool, and she's like, Gladys Jones, and they're like, oh, okay, and she's like, do you know my son Jughead? Veronica's like, oh shit, you're the mom. Like it took her 5 minutes to get it.
Yeah, and so then she's finally like, oh, can you like cut us some slack? Like you need to help us out. Like we can't make the payment. And Gladys like oddly, and in this moment I was like, okay, something's up, because she was like, don't worry about it, like just, you know, you can pay me back, like we'll set up a payment plan. And then she starts like saying, you know, don't tell Jughead about this plan, or else I'm gonna have to tell Hiram about how like your mommy is like trying to take money too on the side.
Yeah.
So like she's like, okay, cool, secrets.com. So then it cuts to Pops, and Moose is like getting a burger or whatever, and Cheryl comes up and she apologizes.
Yeah.
And Moose is like, I accept your apology. And what did you think of that whole scenario?
No, I think it was very needed. I love that she did it. And then like even at the way she ends it was like one of the best lines of the episode, where she's like, because he was like, we're gonna go to the bunker and we're gonna like, you know, spend the night. She's like, okay. She's like, cute. She's like, don't forget. She's like, bring clean sheets. And I was like, oh my God, have they listened to our podcast? Like we've been saying this from the beginning, that like,
I was like, the sheets are dirty AF.
Yeah, and she even said, she's like, everyone's fucked on that bed basically.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it was cute.
Then it cuts,
it was really cute.
Yeah, it was cute. So then it cuts to the parents, and they're going back to the school. And finally Penelope kind of comes through, and she was like, okay guys, here's like an antidote to the cyanide, so if we do have to drink the cups, like this will take care of you for like the next 4 hours. Yeah. So they all drink it, and everybody shows up, and even like Hiram comes through like, with wobbles over freaking cane. Like, I'm done. Like he's got a fucking cane.
Like seriously.
But he does kind of look badass with the cane, I'm not gonna lie.
It suits him for sure.
Yeah, I'm totally into it. But also like, yeah, he kind of like lurks back in the shadows, whatever. They're all there. So then now they have to, I guess, find the child. Like, anyway, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to Kevin and Moose, and they literally like, it's like 5 seconds, but I was totally into it. Like he lights one candle, and then Moose is like, take your clothes off.
No, it was a hot scene. It was so cute. Like, it started out really cute, like him lighting the candles and like the music. I was like, oh my god! And then you know, it was nice. It was a nice scene.
Yeah, it was a nice scene. I'm glad they did it. Like we haven't seen something that like that's the thing. We went from somewhere where it was like aggressively kissing to like romantically like happily kissing,
which is everything we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so I guess
that's what happens when you like let gays be gays. They don't have to like aggressively kiss each other in fucking corners and the darkness.
I guess before this they had never like actually like done it.
Right. Yeah, they've only like aggressively made out
against lockers. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so then like they're getting down or whatever, and then it cuts back to school and all the parents like split up. Like I kind of loved that it was throwing back to
loved
like so
scene.
Into it.
And like even Ashley Murray, she was tweeting, she said that like the way the parents were even standing in the room was like the same order as like how they were standing in the flashback episode. But then I was like, okay, girl, but like, what does that mean? Like, no one's gonna pick that up.
No one's gonna pay attention to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't really mean anything. So like, whatever.
Right, like they all split up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't understand. Like, are we done now? Like, we already found all the like chalices. Like, wasn't that our goal? But like, that's the thing. Like, I didn't even know that was their goal from the get-go. So I wasn't really sure why they were there.
But what does that do for the ending of the game? Like, fine, you find the chalice, and then what? Like, you have to drink it, and that's it?
Why do you have to go back to Ascension Night?
Yeah.
But I guess it was all like a ruse anyway. So like, it wasn't really like for that anyhow.
So then they hear Penelope screaming.
Right.
Then they run to her.
And then it shows like a skull, and then there's like blood on the wall, and it's like, got you.
Yeah.
And Penelope's like, what the F? Like, this must have been like something to distract us and lure us away from our kids. And then everybody starts calling.
Yeah.
Pause really quick. Before we get to like the full sex scenes that we were about to talk about, because I just want to give it its moment.
Okay.
Did you think at any moment in time that Penelope's up to all of this at all? Like in any moment did you think like her discovering the fucking thing and her screaming first? Like I thought that everything was so carefully planned, the way that it was all set up, and I was like, I don't know, man, I still don't fucking believe her. Like I feel like she has something to do with this. And on top of that, like, you know, like we remember how she was in the flashback episode. She was like obsessed with this game, right?
Yeah.
And so to see her again now, I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like she might have something to do with it. Do you not feel that way at all?
Still though?
Yeah, I mean, she was the one that screamed first. Like, I always feel like the person that you wouldn't blame is the person that discovers all that shit.
You're right.
You know?
But, like, I thought we're done now with the whole G&G thing.
But we're not, because I feel like G&G
We're still not?
No, I don't think so.
That guy, the Moose's dad, wasn't the guy?
No.
What do you mean?
He wasn't. We'll get to that point anyway. But, like, yeah, he's definitely not the Gargoyle King.
Jesus Christ.
So, anyway,
yeah,
before
maybe
we get...
she has something to do with it. I don't know. I thought we're over with this.
No, we're not, girl. We ain't. So then, anyway, so then they start calling everybody, and I was like, obviously, all of the Riverdale fandom was livid.
So the first call, I think, is like Fred. Fred calls Archie, and then like they call Josie, and Tierra. They're like, no, we're just like in like Archie's bedroom, like practicing whatever, like totally innocent. These guys are so cute, like totally
practicing.
Innocent.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to who was next? Was it
Veronica and Reggie? And they're like, on the bed.
Literally, like my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh my god, like I thought she was naked at first. I'm like, she's literally straddling the guy.
And he's like, oh god, I gotta answer this phone call from my dad.
He's like, my dad.
I'm like, if anybody's ever been interrupted from a phone call, like, you understand.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in the situation. So then it cuts to Bughead. So Bughead literally has one moment this entire episode. This is the only time we
see them, yeah.
The entire time. I was like, we're never going to see Bughead. And then we do see them, and they're like, fucking, obviously.
Yeah.
So then they get a phone call. And then we see Shoni fucking. Everybody's just making out and about to have sex and, like, getting it in. I was like, yes, girls, get it. Boys, get it. I was so into it.
It was amazing. Like the way that the pacing of it too, like because there's an urgency, right? Because like the parents are trying to call like their kids. So like you're nervous too, like who's gonna answer next? Like is everyone okay? But then you're also like, oh my god, like what's happening?
like my eyeballs, they're like overstimulated.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just like, oh, they're making out like in the corner of the room. Like they were very sexual positions involved in the sequence.
They were literally effing each other. Yeah.
Like the Jughead one, Bughead one was like, I don't know what was going on under
he
the
was
covers.
like he was like halfway done. Yeah. Like
one of our one of our Twitter followers was like, what was he doing like underneath? Because apparently like he like didn't stop doing something when she answered. I don't know, I missed it, but he was like go back and look, because like he was definitely doing something.
He was like put it on some of that protection, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? I don't think he's even wearing protection. That's his girlfriend, homie.
So anyway, so then everybody's like, but where's Kevin? Like, Kevin's not answering his phone. And then of course it cuts to the bunker and they hear something and the gargoyles are there and then they kidnap him. And kidnap him and Moose.
That scene was really fucking terrifying though. Like my heart was like outside of my chest, because like they're having such a cute moment, and then like the music was like eerie, it got quiet, and then he hears like the door kind of open and he's like, Betty, like I have this night reserved to myself. Yeah. And then like there's no answer, and then they just see these freaking like creepy guys like standing like in like the tunnel part. Like it was terrifying.
It's very scary. It is scary. And it's very like Charles Manson.
There
like,
should be some creepy some like lock system to that door.
I mean, for one, I thought there was a lock on that door, and I don't know how they got in. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought there was, like, some sort of mechanism that didn't allow anybody in. That's the point of a fucking bunker.
Seriously.
Like, it locks from the inside, but whatever. Anyway, so they capture them, and then they take them to the forest.
Right.
And they throw them on the floor in front of the Gargoyle King, and you're like, oh, shit, here it goes again. And he like Kevin's like, don't worry, like we're gonna do this, and then he is about to take like a drink like from one of the chalices, and then all you hear is like shink, and like he falls to the floor, and like Cheryl like just shoots him with an arrow like in his leg, like I guess.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think he like, or maybe he does, I don't remember. I thought that he falls to the floor though.
I thought they like shoot the cup so that he doesn't drink it. It was kind of like a dramatic like moment like that.
Oh, I don't remember. It was just like all happened so fast. It
happened so quick, and then like everyone was there. Like the whole Riverdale town was like basically there.
Yeah. So everybody goes in and they capture the person, and of course, this is the part that I was like, of course it was him. It's Moose's dad.
Yeah.
And he's pretending to be the Gargoyle King, and all the gargoyle like babies are like the cadets.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's funny because like when you see them earlier on in the episode, I was like, obviously this is what's gonna happen. Like you see them all kind of like walk and line up. I'm like,
they all look the same. Guys are, they all look like miserable. Yeah.
Miserable, like sexless losers.
Yeah.
So they all get caught, whatever, and then it cuts to FP, and he's talking to, his name is Major Mason, and he's like, so you're the Gargoyle King?
Like what happened to you, man? Like
he's like,
you what's your whole kill your son?
Yeah, he's like, are you fucking crazy? He's like, he's like, no, I was just gonna scare them. There was nothing in the cups.
He's like, yeah, scare them straight. Like yeah, FP was so into it.
He was so angry for them. And so then Major Mason has like this full flashback scene, like full scene.
It really tripped me out because like again they use their sons as like themselves.
Right.
So I was like, oh my god.
So then I don't know if anybody's watched American Beauty, but like this was very much an American Beauty moment where he's like me and Tom were so close, and then
he
like
falls for him. Yeah,
I kissed him and he rejected me, and I was pissed because like like, and then he gets like so cheesy. He's like, and then I saw him getting married, and then I saw his son who like looks exactly like him. Like no wonder, because they used him in the flashback episode.
Yeah.
I was like, so, and then FP's like, oh, you wanted to destroy like what you couldn't have back then.
He talks about himself and like how he went to Sisters of Quiet Mercy,
right?
And like they kind of fixed him, whatever.
So, like, using the Gargoyle King
too. Yeah.
Right. And he was like, so how did like everybody else like get involved with this? Like, how did the cadets get involved? And he was like, well, I like told them it was like a mission. So he was using the Gargoyle King storyline to like perpetuate their situation too, I'm assuming. Like they were playing the game as well. Like I have no fucking clue. Anyway, this gargoyle shit needs to go much. Like right now. I legit
thought it was over.
It's not, because that's what he says. So Jughead and FP are leaving, and FP's like, oh my god. So he's like, Tall Boy was like using it to kill people, and now this guy's using it to scare his like gay son.
Yeah,
he's like, he says like, there's so many Gargoyle Kings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are we gonna get a fucking reveal every episode of like a fake Gargoyle King? Like, can we just get to the bottom of this and be done?
I'm so done
like,
with this. Yeah.
I don't know like why this keeps coming up, and it's so fucking annoying. Like, I'm done. Like, it's so, and I don't know who killed who. Like, did Tall Boy kill everybody or not? Like, I'm not even sure what this whole situation is. This is what happens,
right? Like, the web gets so big and so complicated that you stop sort of
caring,
like, number one, caring, and then like B, like you can't even answer the questions because you're like, it's so confusing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do and how they're gonna wrap up the season, but like it better make sense. So then Jellybean kind of like lurks into the corner,
like,
and she's like, Zaddy. And so she like apologizes and she gives him a hug, and everybody's like, what the hell's happening? Like, Jughead and FP are very confused. Yeah. Gladys comes in. She's like, hey guys, like I'm back home. Like I'm going to stay for a little bit longer. And FP's face was like, oh shit.
FP's like, oh fuck. I got to call Alice.
He's like, oh boy, he's like, I'm going to text her right now. It's like, don't come over.
Which doesn't make sense because like they're divorced. So like it doesn't really matter technically.
Exactly. No, I don't think they're divorced. I think they're still together.
They're
not?
Just
like she just left.
Oh, damn.
I think they're still technically together. Yeah, for sure. And so then it cuts to Archie and Josie.
Oh my god.
And like she just explains everything, and she's like, yeah, my parents ended up having like a chill wedding. It was just the four of us at City Hall.
So can you first of all paint this picture? Or you're not painting the picture.
Okay,
you're
fine.
In the music room with that really
alone.
Cute like carpet, and they're alone, and like the lights are like kind of like dim.
One light.
There's like one light, and she looked so good this episode.
Like angelic almost. Yeah.
She looked really good. He looked super cute. And they were just like so close to each other, like talking. And he was like, girl, how did the wedding go? And she's like, yeah, the wedding's done. And I was kind of like, I want to see that wedding. Like, why did it fast forward?
We all just want to see Tierra all the time. Yeah. So then she's like, honestly, after like what happened with like Moose and the dad, I think like my problems are not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So she's like, perspective, you know? And he's like, true. And it was cute. And I was like, oh, they're really good buddies. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was watching this part of the episode, I was like, they're such good friends to each other.
Such good friends.
And I'm so happy to see them together.
Yeah.
And then they start singing. He's like, but I really wanted to sing with you.
I love the way this happens because like, yeah, he's like, I want to sing together. She starts singing first.
She's like, I'm off the deep
end. And then he was like, let me get my guitar. Hold on. And he like runs and like,
let me get it. Let me catch up.
Yeah.
It was very much like a Stars Born moment though. Like both of them
beautiful.
like singing together.
And then like she kind of like walks to like the center of the room, and like the camera like follows her, and then like he follows her into the room, and like they're just like singing together, and like he's, oh my god, it was just adorable. Fucking romantic. I loved it. And then like their bodies just get closer. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So as they're we'll get to the end of it. So as they're singing, there's like a montage of everything kind of closing up, and it shows Tierra again, and they're already married now. They have like their wedding dress, and like she has her wedding dress on, and like she's like about to eat the cake, and she's like so happy. I was
having an anxiety attack. I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna die. Someone's gonna come into the room, they're gonna blow her head off. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, worst case scenario, like pure worried, like pure, because like they were like, so happy. The
Gargoyle King's gonna come out of the cake and fucking murder everybody.
She's like, Tom, I'm so happy. Our cake is like perfection. I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna die.
They really fucked us this episode.
Plus, like Josie singing over this, so I'm like, it's so ironic that her daughter's singing like she's gonna get murdered right now.
Right. Yeah. But it didn't happen, thankfully. No. So I would love to know if people just like watch this like as normal human beings, because we were fucking freaking out.
I was freaking out. Like I was like probably sweating. I was having an anxiety attack. I was like, my heart was like outside of I was freaking out.
But that's what I mean. I'm like, shout out to anybody who like didn't have to watch it with so much anxiety.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Moose and Kevin, and Moose basically says, so I'm gonna leave and stay with my aunt in like Glendale or somewhere else.
I'm like, where's Glendale? Like what?
I was like, what the fuck?
And first poor Kevin I was so confused. Like, what? Like,
he's like, why are you
this
leaving?
huge thing just happened. Like, you're leaving now? You couldn't just wait a couple more days?
You just came. And he's like, nope, I'm going to leave. And I was like, what the hell? After all of that, after coming out to your dad and like having like, you know, having a boyfriend, like going steady. I guess they just wanted to kill the storyline. I don't know. I was kind of pissed at the writers for ending it the way they did, because I'm like, yo, you let this guy like literally chase this man for a full fucking season.
More than now 3 seasons. It's been like
3 seasons full. And now he has to fuck off. And he was like, yeah, I'm leaving for now. Bye.
I just didn't understand it. I'm sure he's going to meet someone else. But like the point is like, why someone else? Like they just established what they were. And now he's leaving. Like, it's just felt so weird.
Like, I feel like they keep doing Kevin dirty so bad, and I just can't do it anymore. Like, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for, like, Kevin and his storylines just, like, shattering into nothing. Like, after all that, like, work, it's like nothing came from it.
Like, even Kevin's face, like, Casey Cott's face was like, wait, what? Like,
yeah.
You're leaving now?
He was like, I'm confused. He's like, why are the writers doing this to me right now? And no, but he did have a good acting moment where he started to tear up a little bit, and like they had like a goodbye.
He was amazing.
He did a good job.
He did an amazing job. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Cheryl and Tony, and this is like such a random moment, but she like basically is like,
Cheryl's like, hey, I got you like, something else. Another surprise.
Like, what did you? I was like, what did you get her? She's like, nope, I got you 7 girls. Like, what the fuck?
Tony's like, oh shit, like it's gonna be like that kind of date.
It's gonna be that kind of relationship, so she's like, I know that you've been missing your serpent, so like, this is like the next best thing, like 7 girls who don't have families. I was like, I know this is probably like a part of the comics, but I was so confused.
It was cute. I was very confused because I was like, girl, you've done enough for a day. You literally like saved the world. So you've done enough. And now you found like 7 girls. And it was cute. It was really cute though.
Yeah. Now we're waiting for like a 7 Rings music video next episode, guys. So just
oh my God.
keep an eye out for that.
We should do a music video.
Oh my God, we just figured one out. Yeah. Guys, stay tuned.
So they're called the Pretty Poisons.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what that means.
Poison by night.
I was like, all right, whatever.
I'm like, okay, I'll go with it, whatever.
Let's move on. So then it cuts to Hermione, Reggie, and Veronica, and Veronica's like, by the way, Gladys is back, and you should have told her that she told us that she was the buyer. And I was waiting for Hermione to be like, she's not the buyer. Why is she here?
Yeah, me too.
But she wasn't. She actually was the buyer.
Yeah.
And she's like, just letting you know that she's not leaving anytime soon. So like, keep an eye out for her.
And Hermione's like, oh shit, like she looked worried.
Yeah, she was worried. And so then it cuts to Gladys and Jellybean, and they're at the trailer, and you find out that Gladys and Jellybean are playing the entire town, essentially.
Yeah, it's like their whole plan. Like Gladys is like, girl, we came back right in the nick of time. Your daddy is the sheriff, and we're gonna fuck these people up. I'm like, okay. So that's your plan?
Literally
cool.
Literally, that's exactly what they said.
And Jellybean's like, I'm 9. I don't care.
She's like, I'm younger than Jughead. You guys are getting me into some shit right now. So then finally cuts to the moment of like, it was so funny because like I was making notes as we were talking and I'm like writing my best moment. I'm like getting ready. And then like it just kept changing every single time like a new thing happened in the ending. And so this final moment, it's Josie and Archie finishing their song, and like they're so fucking close to each other. Like their mouths are like so close to each other. And then he's like,
their bodies, and like he somehow, like, I don't know how he does it. He like stops playing the guitar.
Yeah, but like the song's done, and then he like moves it to the side.
Grabs her to him, and then
he's like,
"Oh my God,
can I kiss you?"
Oh my God.
Like, oh, I'm ovulating. Like I was so into it.
No, I was like, can we just talk about this? Why was this so hot?
I didn't even see it as hot. I was just like, this is the one of the most genuinely romantic moments I've seen on the show.
It was hot. It was cute. It was so romantic. It was so intriguing. It was like everything that like I feel like I I kind of wanted with like a Veronica and Archie storyline that never really got me to that point. Like this was next level, guys. Like I don't know what it was. Maybe it's their chemistry.
Living for it.
Like maybe it's Ashley and KJ's chemistry. Like, but it was insane. Maybe. Like it was just such a freaking romantic moment. And
did you expect it to happen this fast?
Yeah. I think as soon as I saw them like in the room and like him even like taking her to Juilliard's like audition, I was like, okay, like something's gonna happen. They're gonna accelerate it, and I didn't mind that, to be honest. Like I love the way everything kind of fell into place. It was so freaking cute. Oh my god,
it was perfect. And that's the end of the freaking episode, guys. Like holy crap.
Like I'm really curious, guys. Comment below and like let us know what you guys think about this kiss, because I know, you know, for the VARCHIE supporters, like what does this mean? Are you guys down even for this? It was kind of like unexpected and it kind of happened really quickly, so I don't know what the fandom's gonna think about it.
Same, yeah. I think there was a lot of people who were saying that in the comic books, the one thing that they maintained in the comics is that Josie and Archie never get together, and they were hoping that that doesn't happen in Riverdale. But like, yo, first of all, anything's fair game at this point. And second of all, like, it made sense to me. It wasn't out of nowhere. I love the way that it was paired together, and it was like, even though it happened over a matter of like an episode and a half, I was here for it, and I loved it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally here for it. Like, I'm gonna literally leave this desk and then go back and watch the episode again just for that moment, because it was so I don't know, it was just amazing. And so well and I'm kind of like cheese that, you know, like maybe it's Ashley Murray's acting. Maybe it's Josie's character. Like, I'm kind of cheesed that these characters get pushed to the side so often. Yeah. Because I fucking love them this episode. Like, all of them. I didn't miss the core four at all. I was totally fine with whatever I had this episode.
Agreed.
So what does that mean? I don't know.
Well, see, I hope that they continue to try to, like, bring them in as much as possible. And I guess now that there's a little bit more intertwining with the secondary characters, with, like, you know, like Reggie's with Veronica and Josie's now with Archie, like they'll start pulling them in a little bit more. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, that's the episode, guys. Let us get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. Yeah, I think obviously my best moment is the Archie and Josie kiss. Because that shit was just, you know, it was so freaking romantic. It was so beautiful. And it just catches you off guard, whereas something like a Veronica and Archie kiss, you're like, okay, like it's gonna happen, you know, like they're the iconic couple. This didn't feel like that at all. It was so different. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, even though it was unexpected, it was still such a beautiful moment, and I was just happy how it was all put together.
And like to what you said before, like you're right, like it's beyond the point of just being like this hot, sexy, steamy kiss. Like you just feel their connection on a friend level, you know, on a human like level. It was just beautiful, and I don't know what happened. Like, when did this get so amazing? Like,
I know.
It's Josie and Archie. Like, we've seen them before.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. And I'm like, guys, stay there. Like, writers, stay right here. Don't move. Let's just like, keep it here for the next like 7 episodes minimum. Like, come on. Give them the time they deserve. Speaking of time deserved, I'm gonna give my best moment to every moment with Tom and Tierra. Like, I just was fucking living for these two. I am obsessed with them. I'm obsessed with him. I like just love them together. They're so in love. They are everything good in the world. They just made me so happy every single time I saw them. And yeah, we feared for their lives basically the entire time. So it just goes to show how much we care about them being together.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
My WTF moment, I think, was probably when like Moose's dad was explaining everything. I was like, what? I'm like, you went to Sisters of Quiet Mercy, like the flashback moments, like
you're
that
like
he was like
gay.
He was like, I want Tom, and Tierra has Tom, and I want him back. And like, I was like, what? Like, we just like, got introduced to this character. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah. My WTF moment is also related to Moose, but it's Moose leaving the show / like Riverdale.
Yeah,
like what the like after all of that, I was like, what the F? Why is this even happening? This is such a useless like way to end it all.
I wonder if it's something to do with like the actor. Maybe he like got another job or something like that, because it just felt so weird.
just felt rushed. Like after all of that, like you're just rushing him out of the scene. Like if this happened next episode, 2 episodes from now, I get it. But like you're literally like letting him like get his heart broken like within 45 minutes. Like come on, bro, that's so unfair.
Yeah. MVP. My MVP is gonna go to Casey Cott and Kevin Keller both. Like, you know, finally Kevin gets this amazing story. We get to see it sort of like through the entire episode, even though he doesn't end up with Moose in the end. But we finally get that chunk of Kevin. And then I gotta say, like, Casey Cott, he, you know, freaking made me cry at the end when like his eyes started tearing up, like his face got, like, I started tearing up. Like, you don't get to see how amazing these actors are because you get to see freaking 1 minute of them every 4 weeks. So
it's true.
I was just like, big ups to Casey Cott because he killed it this entire episode, and what he's been doing with Kevin. Like I want to appreciate him more. He's just never in it, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's or he gets a really shitty storyline, which we've been complaining about this whole time. Which hasn't kind of changed, but that's okay. My MVP is gonna go to Tony because I feel like her calling out Cheryl in that moment, I was living for it. I think that she, like, you know, kind of showed her another side. This girl who, you know, Cheryl is constantly known as this person who like doesn't give a shit about anybody, but the fact that she cares about and loves Tony so much, and that Tony is this person that is opposing her ideologies and making her see the other side of it, and like her story is so real, right? Like it's very much a story of a lot of people, not just LGBT, but people who are, you know, like minorities or like, you know, have like a lower class. Like there's so much to her story that's intriguing, and I really like the fact that they focused on it this episode. So yeah, big ups to Tony this episode for sure.
LVP.
My LVP is going to go to Reggie, just because I think the last couple episodes he's been amazing to Veronica for sure. But this week we got to see, I think, this side of him that you kind of see in the comic books, where he's really like a doof. Like he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's so dumb.
Like he just wants to like beat his chest. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna like tell everyone like I got shot. She's like, are you dumb? Like you can't. So I think it's just he's an idiot too. He can be an idiot. So
he's just like showing his like comic book colors right now, which is kind of annoying. And that being said, I'm gonna give my LVP to Veronica. I like I said, this whole episode, I thought that their storyline was like the most waste of all of them, and seeing them together just made me realize like they're in their own world of like dumb, like gangster mafia dumbness, which I could care less about right now because I'm living for like Tierra and now Josie and Archie. Like so I don't care about you guys anymore. So like our care for Veggie like has like gone down like a lot since last episode.
Since last week, since 7 days ago.
Yeah.
So
basically,
the best line.
What was your best line?
My best line has to go to Tierra, and she is sitting in the bed with like Tom, and then she like runs over to like the table to like eat more. She's like, I'm having a little snack before I have my other snack. I'm like, oh, she just called him a snack. She just called Daddy a snack. Oh my god, I love that line. I was like, she's definitely gonna die now because she just had the best line, and then she didn't die, so that was good.
She didn't die, so I was happy with that. Yeah. My best line is Cheryl, just because it's so fucking ridiculous. She's like, it still bugs me that there are people in this town that think that being gay is anything less than rapturous. I'm like, rapturous? Like, she's almost as bad as Veronica when she gets lines sometimes.
You know, if you're going to say something serious, if you're going to say a really, like, important line, say it. Yeah. Say it and mean it and, like, from start to finish. But sometimes they add, like, this humor to it, and it kind of takes away from like the seriousness of a line like that, you know.
Agreed. Yeah, I was like, oh god, so extra Cheryl shit.
Yeah. We also got some roundups from at Postmaster Radio.
Yeah, let's listen to them.
His best moment, Josie and Archie's musical number at the end, and also their kiss. Don't forget the kiss. Their WTF moment is Cheryl outing Moose. Yeah. That was a big one for sure.
Yeah, that was a big one.
MVP, Josie, Shoni, and Archie.
Okay.
LVP, Moose's dad for ruining Coos.
True.
And best line, far away from the rural horrors of Tent City, said Cheryl.
I don't remember that line.
I think I remember her saying it, but I can't remember who she was saying it. Far away from the rural horrors of Tent City.
I don't know.
Maybe to Tony she was saying it. Like, anyways, yeah.
All right, cool. That's the episode, guys. Let us know in the comments what your favorite moments were. Give us your roundups as well. What did you guys think of the episode in its entirety? Would you guys like to see more of the secondary core 4? Because I was down for it.
I am so down to see that again. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it's not like we really missed like they were still in it. It was just I mean, except for Betty and Jughead. Yeah, but I was like, whatever.
I was like, we don't need to see them. Yeah. They're good. They're fine.
Yeah. So what's this hiatus? Are we going on a hiatus or anything like that?
We are going on a hiatus, so it's not going to come back until February 27th, which is kind of like a long time.
It's a long time, guys.
But that being said, make sure you guys keep an eye out for us. I'm sure we're going to come up with something to send off to you guys and keep you guys updated with anything that we find out about, and maybe throw in a few top 5 videos. We'll see. We'll see if we have time to do them. But yeah, until then, I guess we'll see you on the 27th. But we still have some other things going on, so make sure you guys keep in touch with Recap Rewind, because we have other podcasts we're doing right now. So just keep an eye on our channel.
We just did a crazy lit interview with Kelly Ripa, who played Mrs. Malra last week.
Yeah.
And
I was hoping that she was gonna come through this episode, like she would be like the secret dealer. Like, can you imagine?
So yeah, that interview, guys, is up on our YouTube. So check it out, because she does spill the tea about like other things as well, if you guys want to like hear what she has to say.
Definitely.
And I think I just got a shout out, guys, if you're listening to us on iTunes and you like this podcast and you like JLAG and myself, please leave a review, because the reviews, the star ratings, they do matter, and they do affect like our overall rating, I guess. So it does make a big difference for us if you guys can just take time out of your day and just do that. If you guys enjoy it, I don't want you guys to like drop a fake review. But yeah, that would mean like a lot to us.
Please help us.
Please help us.
And finally, we would like to thank our Recap Rewind patrons of the episode, our Lit Rewinders, Tina Ann, Nama, Sarge, Serena, and Kaylee, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, and Tamala.
And if you guys would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you'll get access to all things Recap Rewind, exclusive contests, content, and updates.
And make sure you guys are checking us out on every other social media platform: Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, like all of them. Every single one of them. Everything. And make sure you guys just stay connected. Make sure you guys, like we said, review us, comment on us, like subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And that's it. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.